that you could consider more excitement about the ascension process, because this is unique. You have chosen a very unique path that is unlike any particular harvest that we have observed since our very first visits to you as an Egyptian race. We can also share that you are at a tipping point. We can share that there are many who wish to not have their jar disturbed at all, and what you wish is for your cultures and thought forms that support those cultures to continue, so that you can pretend that you're awake while remaining asleep. And there are great numbers of you who have fooled yourselves into believing that you are awakened. If you believe that there is indeed a jar to be shaken, perhaps break it. We cannot advise other than, and focusing on the numeric evaluation systems or strategies at this point would be an impure intervention into your thought forms and belief systems regarding this new format of ascension that you endeavor upon now in your time-space distortion.
Please tell us what intervention from galactics such as yourselves even looks like.
I am Ra. Each intervention has looked very different. To compare one to another would, again, be too much intervention from the council at this time, because then you would judge that an intervention would look perhaps this way or perhaps that way, and you would begin to consider anything or everything as such an intervention would discourage your powerful paths of awakening now in your time-space distortion.
What is the purpose of the major earth changes, particularly the flooding? Please give us more insight into the potential earth changes and how we can manifest the highest and best timeline regarding earth.
There are I am Ra. We present with information that there are two unique collective formats within your harvest or ascension process that you have created out of 4 total. And these 2 collective paths of ascension have a thought form process which is constructed of billions of people within the human species believing that Earth itself is a living being that must also be ethically treated, that must also be cared for, and that if the other 2 soul groups who choose 2 opposing paths to the first, if these 2 should oppose that, then they would be against Earth in this thought form process. Thereby, as a defense mechanism, billions of human beings in the first 2 ascension types, if you will, billions of humans are providing a defense mechanism and causing a thought form to induce a call, if you will. And Gaia, as you have called it, Earth, as many scientists call it, as a living being, will then respond, because in your thought forms, if billions of numbers in the human species believe that Earth should have a defense mechanism in order for there to be safety, in order for there to be an environmentally sound way of ascension. There are many reasons why you have created this as a defense mechanism, but this is overall what we would perceive as a return to simplicity for two calls. Two calls created two forms of ascension that we have not seen prior in our time-space distortion. And again, there are billions of humans, billions of the species that support these two calls. One is for protection of Earth, and one is for healing of Earth. What you perceive as chaos is a cleansing. At least this is what you have believed in your thought forms and language constructs. You have called this a cleansing. And in your thought forms or beliefs, you have created this to become an actuality for positive reasons that support your unique two types of ascension processes. Do you understand?
Thank you. Is there a way we can shield ourselves from those working against the ground crew?
I am wrong. That unique thought form is based upon the belief of powerlessness. It is not constructed to any productive or healthy or helpful forms of ascension that you have created. If you are entirely focused on shielding from something, then you feel powerless. If you are entirely focused on protecting yourselves and others from something, then you also must believe that you are powerless. And you therefore begin to support the thought form and belief systems of victimhood. It is an easy trap for the complex that you call mind to believe that you must do this. It is an easy trap to believe that you are indeed in a pattern of war and healing, and further war and healing. And we are not here to say that it is not so, because again, we do not mean to interfere or share words that interfere with your individual or collective belief systems, thought forms, or processes. We shall only share today that perhaps you could format your question differently and in a more powerful manner. If you wish to fight against something, then you do. And perhaps you do so with shields. Perhaps you do so with words. Perhaps you do so with energy patterns. Or perhaps you do so by changing your manners of life and lifestyles, your manners of thought and thought forms. There are many ways to do this, and we are not here to say that one way is best for all. As we have formally stated in this message, it is impossible that there will be one way that is best for all. You do not ascend in this process or format any longer. There are many ways. We can convey that perhaps it would be helpful to consider that any thought form, any belief system that supports ascension or harvest and your unique purposes at this time, that these thought forms and belief systems be supportive of all, not for one and then against another, but thought forms and belief systems that support all are very helpful for the simplicity that is required for a return to balance and for less chaos, as you have called it in your language constructs today. Do you understand?
We have a follow-up question to this. Is there a way to also unite in protecting Pamela?
I am Ra. In the being that you call Pamela, who also goes by many names, you could consider that the being itself does not hold thought forms of being powerless and is thereby supported in the energy of health and power. And you can send more thought forms in this manner to support the power, to support the health, to support the groundedness instead of perceiving this being as something or someone that is a weak entity that requires some protection, if you will. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. How is our channel doing right now?
We have completely taken over the language construct at this time, as well as energizing the body constructs and organ systems for as long as we shall. But we are a rather large collective, and we suspect that because we have not been familiarized with this channel for over 1 year in her time-space distortion, that we shall no longer be able to do so at the point of time soon in this message and sharing.
Thank you. Do you have a challenge for the group in attendance today?
I am Ra. We are concerned in a certain sense. We are happy that you wish to challenge the mind. We are concerned in the confusion, the chaos, the complexities that have arisen in your space and time distortions, but more so how you are allowing those confusions and chaotic events in the political arenas to permeate what you call the spiritual arena. You see, under the law of one, we separate nothing. And in your creative allowances as a species, there are some things you must separate while you are learning and awakening. And there are certain creative constructs that you've created that do not belong together. Spirituality is not religion. Religion is not spirituality. Religion and politics belong together. But these constructs that you have created, some are opposing, you see. Politics oppose spirituality. Do not bring that one into the latter. Do you understand our meaning?
Yes. How much time do humans have to fix the damage that we have inflicted on Earth before we are beyond the point of healing her?
I am Ra. That is a rather complicated and profoundly intricate question that would be perhaps beyond the levels of understanding for most human intellects. We can perhaps share that what we have perceived and shared with you throughout the past 198,000 years of observations and working with your species is that you are choosing not to be completely nourished by Earth, nor are you choosing to be completely obliterated by it, you see. The ascension or harvest process is, again, split up into individual support systems that support and feed 4 thought forms, 4 collective belief systems. 2 of these thought forms or belief systems will perceive, based upon their thought forms collectively, that Gaia itself is no longer supporting them. 1 will perceive that they, as beings, hold no bodily identification or personality form identification, and thereby require no further identification with supporting life on Earth. There is a very high density awareness within such beings. Within the other 2 lower density thought forms, again, they will perceive that Earth doesn't support them, and thereby they will perceive millions of people being absolutely obliterated from the surface of this planet all at once. But again, this is 1/4 of the situation. There will be many more who perceive such but are not affected by it. It is as if they are creating their own belief systems of heaven on earth, except perhaps in a smaller component within their town systems or statewide systems. And they will perceive an apocalypse for what you have called it in your thought forms and language systems. And this group believes that they will help the first group, but not be affected. And this is true also. And again, this is a middle way, if you shall, a balanced way to receive the earthly creative dualistic expressions and experiencing, and simultaneously bring higher frequency energies into a lower density form so that a new earth can be created upon the devastated, deconstructing soils of the old, if you will. And again, there are 2 on the other side of the coin of light, shall we call it in your language. And in these systems, millions of beings believe that they no longer hold any identification with persona or body constructs. Therefore, 2 other collectives will believe that they have died. They are simply observing you in spirit format in your language systems. This is perhaps a minimalized way of describing what is occurring. There is another high frequency, high density body of beings that are in the millions at this point that will hold many experiences. They will experience life as what they call spirit in their language forms, and they will observe Earth beginning again, and they will observe those who believe that there should be a new technology on Earth, and that only artificial intelligence shall inhabit such Earth. They'll observe millions of other beings believing and quite effectively living from the lands of Earth by growing their own foodstuffs and nutritional valuation systems from such lands. They must regenerate such lands first. But the lands can only be generated by the destruction caused by the second group, you see. This is a very large question that we could perhaps spend hours divulging and attempting to help you grasp in meaning. We hope that today we have shed some light on how vastly different each of the 4 collective variations of Ascension are, and how they can affect each other's perceptions, beliefs, lifestyles, and health. These are unique times. Have you grasped some components of what we have shared today?
I have.